Alright guys, so this Tundra has a little over 125,000 miles on it. The last time I changed the oil, I put 5W30 SuperTech Walmart oil, full synthetic. It has about 3,800 miles on this oil. I don't know if you can see if it looks any cleaner. Maybe that angle there. It looks probably about the same as the 020. I was hoping it'd be a little cleaner looking since it's a little thicker oil, but that's okay. One thing I'll say about the 5W30 oil is this engine has 4 timing chains in it, and they do sound a lot quieter with the little bit thicker oil. There's been a few of these 5.7 Tundras that get up to 1,000,000 miles on them with running 020 in them. I've seen a few of those on YouTube, but I'm going to keep running the 5W30 in this one, just because I like the engine being a little more quieter. Seems a little smoother to me. I didn't notice any difference in miles per gallon at all. And then today I'm gonna replace the PCV valve. It's right in here. Take some needle nose pliers, pinch this hose off here, pull this foam out, and there's another hose clamp down there you need to take off. You need a 22mm deep socket to get that PCV valve out of there. And I'm going to talk about some of the maintenance I've done on this truck since I've had it. When I got this truck, it had 25,000 miles on it. Now it has 125,000 miles on it, and I'll tell you about some of the maintenance I've done to it since I've had it. Alright, well, here's the old PCV valve. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but you can hear that valve opening and closing in there. Sometimes those will stick shut on you, and that's important because your engine's building up pressure inside of it while you're driving. This PCV valve lets those oil fumes come up through here and comes out this green end into your intake manifold and reburns it again. On a higher mileage engine like this one, this valve will stick shut. You won't hear it sliding in there like that. I wasn't sure if this one needed it or not, but I went ahead and bought a new one. So I'm going to put this new one in there. I put a little clean engine oil around that rubber seal there. This foam is kind of rotted out. I ripped it a little bit getting it out of there, but that'll be okay. The reason why I'm replacing that is I had about 40,000 miles ago, I put some E85 in this truck and the check engine light came on. And I drove it for a while, and I just started putting regular unleaded back in it, and that check engine light went off. And then about 2 weeks ago, the check engine light came on and turned itself back off. And then Friday on the drive home, the check engine light came on while I was pulling the power washer trailer down the highway around 80 miles an hour. And yeah, the check engine light came back on. And then this morning I took it down to O'Reilly's to read the check engine code. I'll let you know more about that at the end of this video. I'll show you the codes this truck's throwing now. Anyway, I'll get that PCV valve back in there. When I first got this truck, one of the first things I did is I put some front Eibach coilovers on it. Lifted the truck about 1.25 inches in the front. Then I just went with the next size tire on it, 275/70/18. That was the first thing I did to it. And then on the rear of the truck, I just put a 1-inch block on it. And it still has the TRD factory shocks. What I wanted to look at on this is yeah, that turn stop radius is a little different than the 24 Tundra. If you've seen that video I made about that. But anyway, and then I put this RCI skid plate on here. These are made in Loveland, Colorado. It has this access panel here to get to your oil filter. That makes it kind of nice because you don't have to take the whole skid plate off. This one here, it's pretty thick metal. That newer Tundra, I have to take the whole skid plate off to change the oil. So about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I started getting a clunking in the front end here. And I ordered some new high-angle CV axles. You could tell which ones are the high-angle ones because they have that extra hump right there on that shaft. You can see that. I think all the high-angle axles have that extra hump like that. I went with those because they're built a little stronger and they're, of course, for a different, higher angle. I never have done anything to the upper control arms up there. Those are still the factory ones there. But I started getting a clunk in the front end and I wasn't sure if it was the CV axles or the lower ball joints. So I had the lower ball joints replaced 2 months ago also. Those are known to go out on these Tundras. Let's see, what else have I done? Oh, the antifreeze. You want to flush out your antifreeze every 100,000 miles or every 80,000 miles or so. The reason why that's important on this truck, your head gaskets are a thin piece of metal coated with a rubber coating. Your antifreeze gets acidic after a while and it'll eat that rubber coating off your metal head gasket. Then you're going to have some big expensive problems if you don't take care of that. That's pretty easy to do. There's a drain plug in the bottom of the radiator. I ended up getting probably about 1.5 gallons of antifreeze out of it, and I put some fresh 50/50 mix in it. You want it. That's more important than might be more important than what you're thinking it is. I didn't think it was ever that important, but that antifreeze gets acidic and eats that rubber off your head gasket, and then you start getting antifreeze in your oil. That's going to be a big repair bill on that, taking those heads off of there. So that's probably a pretty good preventative maintenance item. What else I did? So I got some diode dynamic fog lights in there. They're actually pointed too high up in the air right now. And all these put these fender flares on here. Transmission, flushed that transmission fluid a couple months ago. You can only do 4 quarts at a time on that. The rear differential I did with some synthetic gear oil. That was probably at around 100,000 miles. Hit all the grease zerts on the drive shafts. You want to do that once in a while so your U-joints don't dry up and rot out. Other than that, it's been a pretty good truck. The CV joints and lower ball joints, that was kind of an expensive repair. I had a shop do that for me, and then I had to get an alignment. I had a Discount Tire do the alignment for me. Let's see a K&N air filter in here. Let that engine get a little more airflow. Oh, another thing I did was brakes and rotors all the way around at about 100,000 miles. That was the first truck I ever had where the front brakes and the rear brakes started squealing at the same time, because usually the front will burn out first, but I ended up doing the rotors and the brake shoes all the way around on it. There's what that lower hose clamp looks like on that PCV valve. Need a little bit longer needle nose pliers to get down in there. This truck didn't need it, but I had already bought it, so I put it in anyway. Higher mileage engine might end up needing one of those. Here's something else I've replaced on this truck. I did the grill and the hood bulge and the headlights. The headlights were all fogged out. Did that at about somewhere around 115,000 miles it had on. It had the chrome, the chrome grill. It starts bubbling up because it's just a sticker. And then around 100,000 miles, I did the spark plugs. These engines have the iridium spark plugs in them. Of course, I bought them, before I pulled them out and looked at them. I just assumed that it would need them. It actually didn't need those spark plugs either. I pulled them out and they all looked good. This truck doesn't burn oil or nothing. But I already had the spark plugs, so I put a new set in it at about 100,000 miles. You could go longer than that. Probably, I don't know, 150,000 or so, maybe even 200,000 miles with the original plugs. I'm not sure. All I know is this one didn't need them at 100,000, so let's check on, let me show you these engine codes I'm getting now. Alright, so like I was saying earlier, about 2 weeks ago, check engine light came on. Filled it up with gas and the check engine light went back off. 2 days ago, I'm pulling the power washer trailer home from work. Check engine light comes on. This morning, I get up to take it to O'Reilly's. And the check engine light is off again. Well, anyway, this is the codes that they gave me here. This one here, output speed sensor circuit, no signal. That's a pretty easy fix. O'Reilly's wanted $120 for their cheapest one and $189 for their more expensive one. Well, I looked it up on YouTube, and there's some advertisements for it came up. There was one on eBay for $34. There was another one that said original Toyota equipment for $85. I haven't ordered one yet. I'm going to drive it for work this week and pay close attention to how the transmission is shifting, because all these codes have to do with the transmission. This one here, pressure control solenoid performance stuck off, that is inside the transmission. And shift solenoid, that one is also inside the transmission. There's 3 of them that say output speed sensor circuit, no signal. That's the easy one to replace. So if that engine light keeps coming back on and off, I'm going to end up trying this easy one first. There's only one bolt that holds that little sensor on the outside of the transmission. And then there's a plug that plugs onto it. I'll try that one first. If I still have issues with it, I'm gonna have to pull the transmission pan, and there's a lot of different solenoids in there, so that might end up being an issue. Hopefully it's not. Alright guys, well thanks for watching. That's my Tundra review and the maintenance I've done to it for the last 125,000 miles. It's been a pretty good truck. Pulls this trailer around town pretty easy. If the check engine light comes on this week, I'll let you know what I end up doing about that, but it does turn itself back off. It might just be a dirty connection on that sensor on the outside of the transmission, or maybe I'll pull it off real quick. Well, here, I'll take you under here and I'll show you where that one's located at. Alright, we're under here on the passenger side of the transmission. Let's see if I can get it. Let's see. Right up in there, you see that single. I can't hold the light and the camera to show you, but you can see it's got that single nut right up in there with that wire coming off of it, that black piece. That's the easiest fix. If the check engine light comes back on again and doesn't turn itself off, I'll be replacing that. I think that one right there is another one of the sensors. This one with the gray plug on it. I'll keep you updated on that. Let you know if I end up replacing it. But like I said, it comes on and then it turns itself off, so I don't know if it's just a dirty connection. Maybe I'll unplug that wire off that and see if any dirt falls out of it. Maybe shoot some WD-40 on it and plug it back on. See what that does this week. Alright, well thanks for watching guys. Have fun with your Tundras out there.